Hey guys, it's Katie here, and I want to have a little May recap with you. This is everything that I knit as a knitter and everything that I released as a designer. So basically, my month of May in knitting. So, first up, I am going to show you everything that I made. So, I had a total of 5 FOs in the month of May. I had 3 samples for my Never Ending Story cowl. I had this fingering version, which I used sheep graffiti, socket rocket for in baby dragon and denim jeans. Then I followed that sample up with a DK version using all Miss Babs yarn. There is Yowza, and then this one, I had some moon glow left over from my secret ingredient shawl this year, so it looked perfect. Sparkling Sands moon glow on top of sugar. Yowza. It was awesome. It's my DK version, and I used little tiny remnants that I had left over for the striping. Great use. Then I had to make another one because I had all of these Miss Babs Yowza DK minis wound up. And if anybody knows me, they know how much I complain about having random cakes of yarn laying around that are not being used. I prefer my yarn in skein form, not cake form. And not every project or design will work out, so sometimes you'll be left with cakes, but it's very time consuming to reskein the yarn. So anyway, sidetrack, shiny squirrel object. I made a third Never Ending Story cowl in more Miss Babs Yowza DK minis, this time in Dark Pegasus and Stippleback. So great use of those minis. And I had plenty left over of the Dark Pegasus, so I could use it to use as a background on another one or stripe. Great color work option. So then Katie got back on the sock train. I really needed to get back on the sock train as I have not finished a pair of socks since 2018. Yeah, that's been that is like 7 years. Super crazy. So, good friend of mine, Lauren from Granite State Yarns, posted a test. And I thought, I'm going to test these socks. She put up the Star Island socks, her pattern, up for test. And I'm like, I need to do it. They're shorties. I kind of suck at knitting shorties. And I thought it would be great. So I signed up and I tested them, which was crazy on a lot of levels because I'm not a tester. I'm a designer asking for other people to test. It was my very first test. And I'll say it was pretty stressful. So I got a whole new perspective on that. Back to the FO. Absolutely loved knitting these. All leftover remnant yarn. Loved the use of them. I have particularly chunkier calves and ankles. So I loved the rolled cuff. It fits perfectly. And the pattern, so super easy, so ridiculously easy. They whipped up so fast. I did get through the first sock, and if you notice, they look a little different. You know, this one's nice and rounded and great because I actually read the pattern. And I actually knit with the pattern set on this one. Didn't on this one. This was sock 1. And I'm like, why is the toe so pointy? Why is it weird? It's weird because it turns out I didn't work enough decreases. I did not read the next 4 lines or the last 4 lines of the toe section. So yeah, reading helps when you're knitting or crocheting or making anything. Directions are there for a reason. So I have my little marker here. I have to go back and I have to fix this toe to make it nice and round and great because I didn't read. Yeah, but this was sock pair 1 for the month of May. Now, I actually have 2 pairs of socks I finished. I just had to knit more socks, so I have not written a sock pattern in a long, long time. I wrote up the Prep Squad socks. And these are in testing. They'll be out later this month, but I finished the pair in the month of May. Go me. And after not knitting for socks for 7, 8 years, I finished 2 pairs this month. I feel pretty accomplished. But these are great. I absolutely love them. I used Hue Loco in tweed sock and merino minis for the toe, heel, and cuff. And they're awesome. I absolutely love them. Super stretchy pattern, but it also condenses because parts of our feet and calves and everything are wider than others. So I challenged myself to create a pattern that looked good on the wide parts and the skinny parts. So this was FO5, holy crap, for the month, and sock pair 2. Now, as a designer, I released a total of 4 patterns over the month. My first was the Playing Favorites shawl. This was exactly what it sounds like. I played with favorite stitch patterns from previous designs. This one came from my Miracle Pill cowl and shawl. Then the ribbing came from my Beautifully Broken shawl. And then this lovely cable came from my Chivalry shawl. This was knit up using the Plucky Knitter in Legacy Fingering. It was a secret ingredient mystery knit-along kit, and Brandy had used it for her secret ingredient, and I just loved it. Had to come up with something for it. So pattern number 1 that I released in the month of May was my Playing Favorites shawl. Now, patterns 2 and 3 for the month of May were the Spiked Punch series. I used the lovely sock base from the lovely, being a little redundant here, but it is lovely, Lauren of Granite State Yarns dyed these up. This is a Rainbow Road on top of I've Been Inked. And I challenged myself to come up with a trick to avoid pooling. You're never going to avoid flashing, but I avoided pooling in my entire piece. Pretty darn cool. So Spiked Punch comes in a cowl version, as well as, if I can get it the right way, a shawl version. The shawl was held single, cowl double, so it's a little chunkier. The shawl can really be worked up in any weight you want. It's a great pattern. Complete with optional dirty tassel. But the shawl is awesome, features this awesome stitch pattern, which creates just little pops. And I had several testers use a slightly variegated skein or like slightly colorful speckled skein, so you never really know what color is going to show up in those pops. So it makes it a pretty awesome pattern. So patterns 2 and 3 for the month of May were my Spiked Punch cowl and shawl. Then my 4th pattern for the month of May is my Never Ending Story cowl. Now this mosaic stitch pattern, you're going to feel like it's never ending. And I do have one more design that will be coming out at this point, probably next year, featuring this stitch pattern too. But for now, had to take the shawl into a cowl form because it was just awesome. It comes in fingering and Sport Decay. So you can great use of stash yarn, all of that jazz. So for the month of May, I finished 5 objects and I released 4. Pretty happy with that. I think it was a pretty productive month. If I had to pick a favorite, I think it would be getting back on the sock train because I really had no idea exactly how much I missed the instant gratification of knitting socks. What was your favorite thing that you worked on in the month of May?